The Grand Highlander filled a little bit of a gap in the Toyota lineup, and I do mean a little gap. We might not have even known that it was there because they do already have so many crossovers and SUVs, including some 3-rows. But this is a little bit bigger than the Highlander, it's a little bit smaller than the Sequoia, and crucially, it has a very different character than the Sequoia or the 4Runner. Now the 2025 is what you might call a carryover model, but there's a reason that we're here. When we filmed it last year, that was based on a first drive. This is based on the perspective of living with it for a week, so very different. There also are a few new trims available. The hybrid now has a Nightshade edition, and there's a new base LE trim that brings the entry-level price down by a couple $1,000s. This is not that. This is the Hybrid Max Platinum, so top trim and top powertrain, but we're still gonna talk about what you get on lower trims as well. Looks-wise, I do think that the Grand Highlander is a little bit generic, but that might be exactly what you want from your family vehicle anyway. If you're looking for something that's a tad easier to pick out in a parking lot, you might consider something like the Mazda CX-90, Kia Telluride. Hyundai Palisade is maybe a little bit flashier, but this is not bad looking. It's inoffensive, and it does have some elements from other Toyota vehicles, like the shape of the grille, for example. So overall, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I think it looks fine. I will say my mom visited this weekend and was convinced that this looks just like a minivan. So if you're one of those people who's shopping for a 3-row because you want to avoid a minivan, this might not be the best choice for you. You might consider instead something like the Toyota Sequoia, which at least looks very trucky. But let's take a look at the side profile and see if you agree with my mother. What I'm seeing from the side is a lot of sort of bold lines. We've got a very horizontal shape here, plus a really vertical grille, almost making a 90-degree angle. So to me, that looks a little bit more purposefully designed, stronger than your average minivan. But I want to know what you think and whether you agree with my mom. Now, 18-inch wheels are standard. These are 20s. Obviously, they're black. The Nightshade edition also gets black wheels. Of course, you can kind of gather from the name, plus blacked out exterior trim elements. LED headlights and taillights are standard. LED fog lights and DRLs are not, but of course we do have them on this top trim. This color is called Cement. This is only available on higher trims. Now I know that this sort of enamel gray is very trendy right now. For me, on this kind of shape, it almost might as well be pewter. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Now, I do like that the model name is embossed across the back here. I think that's a nice touch. Power activated liftgate is standard. I have the foot activated one, which is very convenient if you have your hands full. It does also close this way. Now, in terms of cargo space, this has significantly more than the Sequoia. We've got 97.5 cubic feet behind the first row. That's also 10 more than the Kia Telluride. 57.9 with the second row in place, 20.6 with all 3 rows up. Now the Sequoia can do a little bit better on this post 3rd row space, but it's gonna really cramp your room in the 3rd row for anybody who's sitting there, so a bit of a compromise. Let's see what the interior is like on this. My first impression when I got in here is that it's not the newest or most modern layout, but it's nice, it's functional, it's practical, it's comfortable. And I like it. I feel at home here. The bronze accents, I think, are really nice on the dash. We've got them all around the cabin. I'm not crazy about this geometric patterned door insert, and there's a bit of it over here on the dash too. The reason being that it's not actually textured, even though it looks it, and that just bugs me, but I do think it's gonna help with fingerprints, or at least be less prone to fingerprints than piano black would be. Some trims do come with things like a silver dash and matte gray metallic trim or gray or brown wood, and I think that that would look really nice in here, but again, the bronze accents are doing it for me. There are now cloth seats available on the Grand Highlander. That was not true last year when the XLE was the base trim. You've also got Softex, which is basically synthetic leather, or genuine leather, or what we have here, which is leather with ultra suede inserts. I'm not always crazy about Alcantara or iterations on it, but I actually like it here. I like, first of all, that it's in a place where I cover it when I'm sitting. Kind of helps with temperature regulation. You know, if it's hot or cold out, I'm not sitting on a hot or cold leather seat right when I get in. And because I cover it, I don't feel like I'm going to spill something and, you know, really damage it. I'll get in the way of that. Now, I have heated and ventilated first row seats, heated and ventilated second row seats, driver's seat memory, and a heated steering wheel. So quite a lot of equipment on this top trim. Looking around in here, we've got a pretty beefy center console, and it's a good layout. I will say this is a little deep. I've lost my keys a couple of times and found them eventually. They were in there. Got the wireless charging pad here, cup holders. Can get into this way, and there's a lot of space down there. So pretty good center console layout. I think this looks nice. I really love that we have a shelf for the passenger. I just think that's normally a truck feature, but I really like it here. Middle row bench seats are available if you prefer to be able to fit 8 passengers in your Grand Highlander. That's standard on the lower trims, available on middle, but not on higher trims. So I obviously in this top trim have captain's chairs. Now every Grand Highlander gets 13 cup/bottle holders and 7 USB-C ports scattered throughout the cabin, as well as 2 12-volt outlets. I really like that the USB-C ports are illuminated, so they're super easy to find at night. And I love that one for your front passenger is way over in their space. They don't have to be fumbling around in the center console if they want to charge. Just plug in on their own side. Now, tri-zone climate control is standard even on the base LE trim. Your zones are driver, front passenger, and then everything from here on back. So in the second row, you've got controls here that you can use to manage that. Third row doesn't have access to the controls, but they do have dedicated vents. Let's go check out what else they've got. Back here, I've got my USB-C port, got my vents, got my cup holders and storage space, so I'm pretty well equipped. I don't have any of the bronze accents. They get fewer and further between as we move back row to row, and there are none here, which makes it feel like a little bit of an afterthought, but maybe it is. That's okay. We also do not have access to the panoramic moonroof, which is not standard. So compared to a comparably equipped Sequoia, either with or without the moonroof, the Grand Highlander has more headroom. It also has more legroom in the first and second rows, and basically the same amount in the third row. I realize I'm making this look like a lot. Part of that is because I'm not tall. Part of that is because I have the seat locked in its furthest up position. So if we slide it all the way back, because theoretically if anyone's sitting back here, it's because people are sitting there, right? Still not bad. It's not touching my knees, so I can fit. You get a pretty unremarkable driving experience in the Grand Highlander, and I do mean that in a good way. I think it's appropriate for the purpose of this vehicle. You know, you're driving your family around. You don't want to be distracted by a car that demands too much of you or makes weird noises or does weird things. You just want to get from point A to point B in comfort, and you can definitely do that in the Grand Highlander. Now, this is the Hybrid Max, so it's the strongest of the 3 available powertrains, 362 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. This is a hybrid with a turbo. There's also a hybrid with no turbo. That is going to give you 245 horsepower. And then your base gas engine with no hybrid support, that's going to get 265 horsepower. So this one is almost 100 better than that and over 100 more powerful than your base hybrid. And it doesn't feel overpowered. So that does make me wonder if the gas version or the base hybrid might feel a little bit sluggish. However, I will say Matt drove the gas-powered version on his first drive program, and he actually said that he did not think you would wish you got the Hybrid Max instead. He felt that it was fine, it was powered well. He just said if you wanted good power output with pretty impressive fuel economy, Hybrid Max might be a better choice. So let's talk about fuel economy. So the gas engine is rated for up to 24 miles per gallon combined with front-wheel drive, up to 23 with all-wheel drive. And the reason it's not that big a difference is because this has electronic, not mechanical all-wheel drive. So just not going to ding your fuel economy that much. Now, this is the Hybrid Max. It comes standard with all-wheel drive. Can't get it with front-wheel drive. This is rated for up to 27 miles per gallon combined. Perhaps not surprisingly, your best fuel economy is going to come from your lowest powered option. So that's the base hybrid with no turbo. That's rated for up to 36 miles per gallon combined with front wheel drive, or 34 with all-wheel drive, which is still pretty impressive. This is not on a truck platform, so that is a major difference between the Grand Highlander and the Sequoia. And it also means that while this can tow up to 5,000 pounds, the Sequoia's towing capacity is nearly double at 9,520. So when I reviewed the Sequoia last year after spending a week with it, I said it really felt like driving a truck, and I actually said at times it sounded like I was driving a school bus, which was kind of cool for that vehicle and that experience. I liked that it felt trucky. This is quite different. It really feels like driving a car, or I guess a crossover is now our sort of standard for a normal vehicle. It's got the high ride height that so many people really want, but none of that rough around the edges ruggedness that you get with the Sequoia. This is really comfortable, feels like driving a car. It does feel and drive bigger than the Highlander because, of course, it is bigger than the Highlander. That's why it exists. But to be honest, I thought that the Mazda CX-90 drove larger than this, and they are very close in size. A 12.3-inch infotainment display is standard, and it comes with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, even on your base trim, which I really appreciate. So there is a smaller available driver information display that's partially digital. I have the 12.3-inch fully digital one. I always like when it's either fully digital or all analog. The mismatch can be a little weird when you have a bit of each. Now, there is a JBL premium audio system, which I have on this top trim. Interesting to note that that's also standard with the new Nightshade edition on the hybrid, so that's kind of cool. Finally, for tech, I'll mention there is an available digital rear view mirror. I've got it on the top trim. Personally, I don't care for digital rear view mirrors, so I just haven't been using it. The Highlander earned a top safety pick from the IIHS, but the Grand Highlander has not earned that accolade yet. It got dinged for the small overlap front crashworthiness test and also for headlights. The Institute said that the low beams created some glare and that the high beams only allowed for fair visibility, but they did also say that high beam assist compensated for some limitations. The Grand Highlander has not been rated at all by the NHTSA yet. Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 is standard even on our new base trim, so that means that every Grand Highlander is going to get adaptive cruise control, lane departure alert with steering assist, lane tracing assist, pre-collision assist with pedestrian detection, blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert, proactive driving assist, lots of great safety and driver assistance features. Panoramic view monitor is not standard, but I do have it on this one, and that's been super helpful for things like parallel parking. Other things that are not standard but are available on higher trims include front and rear parking assist and traffic jam assist. The base 2025 Toyota Grand Highlander, so our gas-only powertrain with no hybrid support, and our new entry-level LE trim. That starts at $42,310 as of today and including destination. Both of those caveats are going to be true for every price that I'm going to mention. And the Grand Highlander Hybrid, also in our LE base trim, that starts at $45,660. This one, Grand Highlander Hybrid Max, so our top powertrain, more than 100 horsepower on top of the others, comes with standard all-wheel drive, which for others, that's an extra cost. Only available in limited and platinum trims. This one starts at a little over $56,000. For reference, the Lexus TX, which is the luxury equivalent, starts at $56,490. And our as tested price today is $63,311 all in. The Mazda CX-90 starts at $39,500. That's with a turbo inline-six and standard all-wheel drive. Now there's no comparable CX-90 hybrid because they have a plug-in hybrid. That technology tends to be more expensive, and case in point, that's more than 10 grand more. So really, we're not going to compare that to this. Now the Honda Pilot base price is $41,650. That's with a V6 and front-wheel drive. No hybrid option at all for the Pilot right now. Same is true of the Kia Telluride and the Hyundai Palisade. No hybrid right now, but if the rumors are true, we can expect them to be coming maybe as soon as 2026. As always, you're going to want to drive whatever vehicle you're considering, especially if, for example, you're comparing powertrains and really trying to weigh fuel economy versus power output. That's very much a personal choice. Before you get to that point, we've got full video reviews here and written reviews over on cargurus.com to help you narrow down your options. And once you've done that, we've got a huge inventory, we've got real-time pricing trends, and we've got unbiased deal ratings to help you make sure that you're getting the best price. Good luck on your shopping journey, and please subscribe to this channel so we can keep doing what we do.